Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to At Lafayette Live here on Monday, July 7th, 2025. Hope your week is off to a great start here on this lovely summer Monday here in Indiana. If you're watching here from Indiana, and as we always do at the beginning of the show, drop in the chat where you're watching from. Are you watching here in Indiana? Are you in the Greater Lafayette area, Lafayette or West Lafayette, anywhere here? Sometimes in Indianapolis. We have some regular watchers from Chicago. Got some friends and watchers all the way out in California and Arizona. How's it going, guys? Some people out in Florida. Hope you're enjoying summer down there. It's hot and humid here, but every time that I hear from anybody down there, it sounds like it's slightly more hot and slightly more humid than it is here. Or rather, it is slightly more hot and humid here than it is there. An odd thing. Well, probably not that odd, really, but it is what it is. So we're definitely in the midst of summer. Last weekend was July 4th. Our family went out and enjoyed the fireworks in downtown Lafayette on Friday, and then went to Brookston on Saturday and enjoyed their show there. And while the Lafayette show was good, no doubt, and you should go and enjoy it. But if you enjoy fireworks, and a lot of fireworks, and you want to see them close up, you should consider going to the Brookston Fireworks Show. It is an absolute amazing show. The amount of fireworks, really how close you can get. The park they shoot them off in, you're as close as you can be legally within the perimeter, or rather outside the perimeter of their shooting area. So thanks everybody for tuning in today, as we are here most every Monday. Last week we were off for the holiday weekend, but the stats show that most of you are not subscribed. So if you're not, do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button right now so you don't miss a minute of all of the great content that we have here on the Lafayette Live, the Lafayette Reel, and every Monday here on At Lafayette Live. Mixing up my names. The website, the channel is the Lafayette Reel, and the Monday show is At Lafayette Live. Yes, I know. Confusing, right? Got some stuff to talk about this week. Some news, some updates, and lots of other fun things. Just going to give everybody just another moment or two to drop in here. I see the chat is chatting away as I look over on my side screen and look away from the camera. I'll try not to do that too much. So let's see. Let's get going here. What shall we begin with? First up, well, that's fun. My mouse highlighter has changed. Well, we're going to go with it. It has been the talk of the town. It has been the talk of the show in many ways for the last several months. And that is the SK Hynix chip fab that is ostensibly coming to West Lafayette. And if you've watched this at all throughout the spring, you saw that there was a lot of contention about the site that they're going to build on, and what it came down to was Site A versus Site B. The company wound up with a slight preference for Site B, which was not zoned appropriately for their uses. They needed to go to before the boards to get new zoning put in place for that site. The Area Plan Commission voted no, but then it went before the West Lafayette City Council, and they voted yes. The Area Plan Commission vote is just an advisory vote. It is not pending in any way. Sorry, I'm just checking the stream a little bit. It looks a little jerky. See if I can do anything about that real quick before we get any further in. All right, give that a try. So they needed the rezoning to go to I-3 industrial for Site B, and the West Lafayette City Council voted yes. The crux of the issue is, though, that Site A already has the appropriate zoning, and SK Hynix and the Purdue Research Foundation have stated that they would most likely just go back to Site A if Site B was not approved. And the sites are, and this word is overused, I was going to say literally, maybe more like exactly, something like 700 feet away from each other. I forget the exact measurement I took, but really, really close to each other. And so the neighbors are saying they don't want it next to them, are pushing it away, pushing it back towards neighbors who are just basically across what is essentially a farm field, not much more than that. But at the moment, the plan is that SK Hynix is going to go to Site B. Well, 2 citizens have filed lawsuits against the West Lafayette City Council that they have ignored health and environmental concerns and overstepped their authority. There are 2 lawsuits in Tippecanoe Circuit Court, and the judge in this case, Judge Sean Person, has concluded that the 2 complaints, which were each filed on the same day on June 4th, about a month ago now, could wind up with different conclusion if they stay in separate courts. So he has ruled that those cases should be consolidated, and they will hold some hearings on that. But the one complainant said that she's open to that idea. I have a feeling that's exactly what's going to happen, that these 2 lawsuits will be combined. I say this a lot in my life. I am not a fill in the blank. I'm not a lawyer, not a judge. I'm not an expert on the law. But in following this case and following real estate development here in the area for a long time, it really feels like this will not succeed. And there's no judgment from me placed on that statement, whether these lawsuits to stop this rezoning succeed or not. I think it's just a fact. For better or worse, that's going to be the case. Now, if the lawsuits fail, SK Hynix moves ahead, and they have other metrics and points that they have to hit along the way. But if it succeeds and they do manage to put a stop to it somehow, then they'll move back theoretically to Site A. And I wonder what the real world difference is in that, because are we going to go back and sue over land that a landowner owned and was zoned I-3 and has been zoned I-3 basically since zoning came to the area in the, I believe it was the early 70s was the original zoning setup? I don't know, but my Etch-a-Sketch says that SK Hynix is coming whether any one person wants it to or not. So we'll keep following that, and we'll keep you up to date here on At Lafayette Live and the Lafayette Reel. And while we're keeping you up to date, hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure you don't miss a minute of all of our updates here on the channel. Some good news. Our windows keep opening in the wrong window for me. I got to drag them back over here to where I'm looking. Now say that a little better. SIA, Subaru of Indiana Automotive, what was originally Subaru and Isuzu, announced on June 25th that the 6 millionth Subaru vehicle rolled off the line at the Subaru factory on the south side of Lafayette. It took, let's see, this was the Subaru Legacy, so 25 plus 11, 36 years to get to that. That is the 6 millionth Subaru vehicle. They expect to produce 8 million vehicles in total over their history. Of course, they started life and are still Subaru, but were also Isuzu. And they currently manufacture some Toyota models as well. But by the time they wrap that up, in November, they're going to be closing some lines, and they're getting ready to end the legacy line. So the legacy of the legacy will be a legacy. And they're going to replace that with Subaru Forester and the Forester Hybrid in the fall and in the spring of 26. So some new, slightly higher tech vehicles coming to Subaru. But 6 million vehicles over 36 years and 8 million overall vehicles. That is a lot. I think that that's just a testament to the industrial base that our local community has that we don't talk about a whole lot. I talk about it a lot, but all these companies and all these plants and all these manufacturers, they're just churning away every day, just pumping out what they pump out, and making products and putting money into the pockets of the workers and our local economy. So I think that that is excellent, excellent news. Still with me? Enjoying your Monday afternoon? Oh no. I was just opening, there it is. Okay, I was just opening the window for our next segment and the data wasn't loading properly, but thank goodness I hit refresh and everything just is now working the way it's supposed to. I love it when technology works. It is June 7th, 2025, as we record this, as we stream this live, for those of you that are watching us live, and thank you all over here on the chat for watching us live and keeping the conversation going. But as we record this, it is the beginning of July, which means that we now have access to the monthly update data for the local real estate market here. And I like to talk about this every week. I'm sorry, I don't like to talk about this every week. My microphone's doing a little dance. Talk about this from time to time, I should say, and give you a little insight into the real estate market. If I didn't mention at the beginning, I am Geoff Gooch. I'm a realtor with the Russell Company, powered by At Properties here in the Greater Lafayette area. And I'd love to help you find home here in the Lafayette area. And the entire reason that we bring you this show is that we can keep you up to date on our area, all the cool things that there are to do, but housing, the market, your home values, if you're a renter, what that could look like. And that's why we're here week after week. And I love giving you that deep insight into that real estate market. And we're going to do that this week by looking back at data through the end of July. Through the end of June. Our data has locked from an analysis standpoint for the month. So we're going to look at this. And I think that there's a lot of confusion, perhaps fear, definitely lack of information on some people's parts about what the real estate market is and what it's going to be doing. Real estate is an intensely local thing. As my kids are fond of saying, it's a thing. Is it a thing? Yes. Yes, it is. But the housing market here in Greater Lafayette is strong. There's no sign that we're in a bubble. There's no sign that the market is going to collapse. There's no sign that the market is going to retract. The market is doing exactly what it is supposed to be doing and will continue to do what it's supposed to be doing according to all the signs that we can see. And I want to walk you through some of the data and why I think the data shows that to be the case. So the first number that we're going to look at in our review of the real estate market here in Tippecanoe County from June of 2025 is the inventory. And this is the amount of homes that are for sale month by month. Let's take a look here. I think I got the right button. I sometimes get this wrong. All right, I got it right. Yay. Here we go. June of 2025, there were 286 homes for sale. I bring you this one first because I really got something to say about this. I really have something to say about this. Let's check out this graph down here. And we're looking all the way over here at this right-hand corner on this graph, and we can see 286, June of 2025, and we can see how it grows. And the low point is here in the winter between about January and March, and then goes up. But two things that I want to look at here on this graph in particular. Let's go back here 5 years back to June of 2020. And here we are at the peak of the market in 2020. And then what you might say nosedives off and goes down. But this is seasonal, as we're about to see. We get down to the winter and it goes back up. And we hang out around here. And in December, January, it comes back down. And it goes back up, and this pattern just repeats over and over and over again with a little bit of change in the tops and the bottoms. The bottoms stay about even. The bottom grew a little bit this last year, and the tops are going up a little bit year over year. And we can see that the top in 21 was 189, and in 22 was 218. We only got to 181 last year. In 23, and in 24, we reached a top of about 231. This year, it looks like we reached a top of 286. And the reason that I wanted to go into this in depth is the number that is thrown around a lot is 300. And what does 300 mean? In a balanced market would be 300 homes for sale here in Tippecanoe County at any given time. If there are less than 300 for sale, that means that there's not enough product, not enough homes for sale. So it is a seller's market. Sellers are in the stronger position, and depending on how much of a seller's market, perhaps they can demand and get higher prices. And then the flip side is as you go over 300, it becomes a glut of product, a glut of homes on the market, and buyers now have choices, and they can negotiate and perhaps get the price down a little bit. So 300 has always kind of been that theoretical number that we talk about as a balanced market, and it's not a fixed point in the time-space continuum by any means. You know, it's as they say in Pirates of the Caribbean, you know, there are more guidelines than rules, so it all exists. And you know exactly if that 300 still is the case after not being at that number is up for debate. But we're as close to that 300 theoretical number as we ever have been. We're pretty darn close to what has historically been defined as a balanced market. That means that the number of homes for sale match the number of buyers that are in the market. Not too many, not too few of each. Gotta find the right button here. So that is the average inventory by month. I wanted to begin with that because next up we're going to talk about new listings. These numbers are related, but they're not married, if that makes sense. They're cousins. They're not husband and wife. I just made that one up. I don't know if it's a good analogy or not, but it's the one that we're going with. So here is the number of listings, new listings by month over the last 5 years here in Tippecanoe County. And I'm using Tippecanoe County as our data set as proxy for the market here in the Greater Lafayette area. In my mind, the Greater Lafayette area includes Lafayette and West Lafayette, all of unincorporated Tippecanoe County, Battleground, all the other little towns here around Tippecanoe County, but also the ring counties, Carroll County and White County and Fountain County, and all the counties that touch Tippecanoe County by sales data could be lumped into the Greater Lafayette area. And they all follow similar trends. Of course, the smaller counties are going to follow their own trends because they just have such small inventory compared to what we have, and our inventory is small compared to what a metropolitan markets like Indianapolis is going to have. So all things are relative. But when you look at Tippecanoe County, it's a pretty good stand-in for Lafayette. And it is representative of what happens in West Lafayette. West Lafayette is by far the tightest, highest performing area of our little local market. So, you know, looking at them would kind of take the rest of the market out of context. But new listings here in Tippecanoe County. And I wanted to look at this because here's what I see. I see that same pattern that we saw in total homes for sale. It grows in the summer and dips in the winter, grows in the summer, and we rinse and repeat over and over and over again. The delta, the change between top and bottom, gets smaller from 2020 on out to 2024. There are a lot of reasons that has been happening. Some of them are driven by nationwide market conditions. Some of them are driven by politics and the news. Some of them are driven by interest rates, but some of them are entirely local. Some of them are driven by not enough inventory in the area, not having enough options for the people that would sell to go somewhere else. So the reasons for that span the gamut just as much as anything else here in the local real estate market. But in December of 2024, we reached a low point of 101. But look, man, in May, we popped up to 293. So I said in a balanced market, we should have about 300 homes for sale at any given time. 293 new listings in May, slightly less in June, 223. But that means that basically all of the previous month's sales essentially would have already sold by those numbers. A strong market. The numbers are going up. There are more homes for sale. Now, the driver of some of that more homes for sale is some more people are entering the market to sell their homes. Some of that is driven by other factors, and we're going to talk about those. One of those other factors being something that we'll talk about here in a moment, closed sales. So we'll just touch on this one briefly in comparison to the time that we spent on the others. But closed sales in June, and with a 5-year look back to June of 2020, look something like this. Sorry, I got the right button. Closed sales look something like this. May and June basically flat to each other, just under 200 at 195. But we can see this kind of sinusoidal pattern. It's not quite a square wave, not quite a sinus wave, but you can see this wave type action where it rises in the summer, falls in the winter, rises and falls, and the changes get smaller and smaller as we approach the mid-2020s. But here we are, and it has grown. 195, it's kind of right in line with where the peaks have been the last 2 years. So we were talking about, the number of homes for sale. One of the reasons that there are more homes for sale is that the number of closed sales is not growing at quite the pace as the number of listings on the market. Is that a bad thing? No, because we've been living for years now on an anemic inventory of not enough homes for sale. So what we're really looking at is a market that is slowly, so slowly bringing itself back into balance, or at least attempting to do so. This is a related number. All right, none of my windows are opening where I want them to. This time we're going to look at new pending contracts by month. This is only with a 1-year look back. And this one we can see just in the 1-year pattern that we've been looking at. We can't see past, the graph doesn't show the 4 years previous to this, but we can kind of see that June was the high point and flowed down to the winter, and then it's risen back up again. And new pending contracts, this is in the month of June, 186 people wrote an offer, said, "Hello, we're buyers. We would like to buy your house, Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller." And the seller said, "Yes, we will accept your contract. Let's shake hands. Let's shake hands. Okay, we have an agreement. Let's go pending. Sign our names on the dotted line." That's new pending contracts. It's up. What does that mean? Well, let's keep moving on, and we'll talk about what that means. This one here is going to tell us a lot about what that means. Median days on market. This is how long it takes a house to sell. You hear me talk a lot. If you've watched any of our shows here on the Lafayette Reel or every Monday with At Lafayette Live, you'll hear me talk about how I like means over median, or I like medians over means, that a median basically throws away the high and the low number that can skew statistics and averages. So, if you have a whole bunch of $300,000 houses, but one $3 million house, that $3 million house is going to throw off your average. So last month, there were, I think what we said, about 200 homes for sale. Let's use 200 for this conversation right now. About 200 homes for sale. Well, actually, it was closer to 300. So let's say 300 for our argument right now, just to make the numbers nice and round. The median days were 7. What that means is of those 300 that sold, that were listed, days from listing to pending, if there were 300, 150 of them sold in 7 days or less, and the other 150 sold in more than 7 days. So some houses might have sold in 14 days or 140 days, but 150 of them, using that argument of 300, sold in 7 days or less. That is a week. That is lightning fast. You might look at this little pop-up that's floating here, median days on market previous year, 4, and if indeed we look at this graph, it hits 4 last year, and if we were to zoom into the West Lafayette market, it gets down to 2s and 3s. But 7 is fast, in a market that has historically been in the 3 to 4 week range, in the 25-ish day range, somewhere between 21 and 28 days. You put your home for sale on a Monday, you've got an accepted offer by a Friday. So the housing market is still hot. If you have a home for sale, there is a buyer for it. While we're slowly growing back towards what might have historically considered been a balanced market in the inventory sense, we are not there in a time sense. Those homes that are coming on the market are really just backfilling the pent-up demand, and the people that need to move always have to move. You got a new job, you have new kids, you get married, there's not enough space, you have to transfer, whatever the case might be. There are always people that have to move, but the people that might want to move, and that market is starting to shake loose just a little bit more. Moving on. Take a breath here and check the clock. Months of inventory. What does this all translate into? Well, this is I can talk. This is a statistic that takes the amount of available homes and the speed that they're selling and determines, okay, at the speed they're currently selling, if we had no other homes come on the market right now, how long would it take for us to sell out of our inventory? June 2025, that answer is 1.9 months. So essentially 2 months and slightly less than 60 days if nobody else sold their home. We would be out of homes to sell, but check this out. This is as high as it has been in the last 5 years. 5 years. This is the longest that it has been. Look back here at the low, 0.4 months. I mean, essentially zero. Less than 15 days of inventory that we would run out. So again, one of those generally accepted numbers from the past is that we should have about 3 months of inventory in a balanced market. This is a number that we actually talk about as real estate brokers more than perhaps we talk about some of the other statistical numbers in detail. And we have a lot of debate over whether in the year 2025, and we've had this debate for a number of years now, about whether that number is really 3 anymore. It really is probably more like 2, 2.5, as opposed to 3. And the fact that we are at just under 300 homes for sale in the last month, I think 289 was the number, and we're at 1.9 months, makes that calculus match up a little bit. And I indeed think that we're pretty close to what would be the new average. I don't think we're quite there. I don't think it's 1.9 months, but I don't think it's 3 months either. Will this continue to grow? No, it won't grow much more this year. July, August has some chance of going up. We'll look back here to 2022. July was the high point. The next year looks like the high point didn't come until October, November. So it could grow just a little bit more, but it won't be by much. You'll see that kind of once we normally hit these highs, it kind of flattens and goes back down. But again, that pattern up and down means that hopefully next summer, all other things being equal, up, up, up. We'll see. Not a fortune teller, but I'm pretty good at looking at the data, and I think that we're trending in the right direction here in the Greater Lafayette area. Everybody keeping up? If you are, hit the like and subscribe button. Tell us how much you enjoy watching all of these local Lafayette real estate market updates here on At Lafayette Live every Monday. Well, the real estate updates aren't every Monday, but okay, we got just a few more to blast through here. Thanks for sticking with us through this business. It does mean a lot to me. This is another important one. I talk to people all the time who talk about houses are so overpriced. And I argue back, no, they're not. The market makes the price. If somebody is willing to pay the price, then it is not overpriced. And we're not talking about one person here. We're talking about a whole lot of people that make a market. And this number proves it. Median sale price in Tippecanoe County, June of 2025, $330,000. Again, if 300 homes sold, then 150 of them sold for $330,000 or less, and then the other 150 sold for $330,000 or more. That's what the median is. And look at the graph again. We're peaking out over here. This is as high as it has been over the last 5 years. This is not unhealthy growth. This is not a 90-degree straight climb in a month or two or a year. This is steady growth month after month, year over year. There are these leaps that we see that are kind of seasonal in nature. We come out of the winter and that price jumps up, and then it kind of sinks back down over the winter, and then it leaps back up at the beginning of the next summer, and so on and so forth, and continues on its way. And indeed, if we look at 2024 into 25, it sinks down and then it jumps up, but the jump is about the same. It's about 2 bars and change, 2 bars and change, just 1.5 bars, 2 bars. These are the same statistical jumps that we're seeing year after year after year. So the next house that you need to buy, the first house that you need to buy, it's not getting any cheaper. When's the best day to buy? Today. Sorry, I got that wrong. When is the best day to buy? Yesterday. When's the second best day to buy? Today. Houses aren't getting any cheaper. Your rent's not getting any cheaper if you're a renter that is watching us. Is your landlord lowering the rent year after year? I guarantee you that he's not. The local market continues to be strong. Sale prices prove that. Prove it. And what also proves that sale prices are strong and priced correctly is sale price as percent of listing price. Blah, 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 blah. What'd you say, Geoff? That sounds really complicated. It's really not. Let's take a look at this number. This is, are people getting their asking price? Here's the 100% line on the bar. They're not quite getting their asking price. The line hasn't hit here in a year. However, look over here on the vertical side. 100%, 99%, 98%. These are 1% increments. 1%. So they're not getting 100% of their asking price. In June, they got, on average, 98% of their asking price. So if somebody asked $300,000 for their home, they took 2% off of that, $6,000. That is things like seller concessions to buyers to cover things like down payments, closing credits, repairs, those sorts of things. They're not getting money off of their asking price. This is just part of the negotiation process where sellers who hold the asset, they hold the house. That is the asset. That is where the value is. That is the thing that the bank is backing up with a loan in most cases. They are taking some money out of that, and then those buyers are paying that back over 30 years as part of their monthly payment in most cases. So if we look, it never got quite to 100% over the last year, but it also never sunk below 96.6%. That means the average closing costs, coverage, negotiations, that sort of thing are about 3% in most cases. Yes, sure, there are some people that are negotiating on price and just, I want to take a little bit off, and the sellers are like, yeah, sure, I'll accept your offer of 1% off of 1.5% off sort of thing, just to save face and make you feel like you saved a little bit of money. So when people tell me houses are overpriced, no, they're not. They're all getting what they're asking. And if we look at this blue area in the graph, this is the expected range. Here in Tippecanoe County, we're riding over what the historical statistics say we should be getting. So we're running a little hot in comparison to the expected range. So housing is not overpriced. It is going for exactly what people are willing to pay for it. We're going to look at some data in a slightly different format in the next couple of presentations. This is an interesting one related to price when people tell me that houses are overpriced. Well, whether they are or are not, people are paying them. That people are the market. People make the market. The market, therefore, is people. And they're paying what people are asking for their homes in many cases because it's their first home. That's what the asking price is. But in many cases, if you are selling to buy, if you are moving up, if you're having kids or just growing your family, or you just want more space, you want to get out of your starter home, then you need to sell your home. And what do you want for your home? More than you paid for it. You want a profit, right? If you are downsizing and you're getting rid of the big home, whether it's because your kids have moved out and gone to college or for any other reason, what do you want to do? You want to make money on your house, but you need that money to buy your next house. That's the fact of life, right? Yeah, of course it is. New listings by price. When people tell me I'm going to wait for prices to come down or I want something cheaper, the dark green is the current year, 2025. The light green is the previous year. So check this out. Houses listed, $149,000. So this is less than $150,000. Look how small this bar is compared to all the other bars. The dominant bar is the $250,000 to $350,000 bar, basically. That is the center of pricing here in Tippecanoe County. You can find some homes for $150,000 to $250,000. You can find a lot of homes for $350,000 to $500,000, and then we get up into the rare air of the premium homes, let's call them, here in Tippecanoe County. So if you're looking to buy a mainline home, you're looking at $150,000 to $500,000 with a strong centering in that $250,000 to $350,000 range. This is the homes that are for sale. These homes that sold, only 91 of them. Only 91 homes compared to 519 and 683 this current year. I mean, we're talking 20% of this. We're talking like 15, 16% of this number of the $250,000 to $350,000. There are just not that many homes for sale at that price point. And the homes that are for sale on that price point, they need a lot of work, and they're small. And no joke, sometimes these are like burn downs, like houses that have caught fire, and somebody goes and buys essentially the lot for $100,000, $120K. It happens all the time. Don't believe me? Call me up. Contact information is right here, and I'll show you the numbers. And I'll show you some properties. And if you're interested in buying one of them, I'll help you buy one. Two more charts, and we're going to do a couple of home tours tonight after that. But two more charts that I think show some really, really interesting data. Closed sale by price here in Tippecanoe County. And this is going to show the same pattern that we saw in the previous one. Check this out. Current year, the dark purple. The lighter purple, previous year. 582 is the high here in the middle. $250,000 to $350,000 is the average closed sale price, the median closed sale price. Not many cheaper, not many at the cheap end. 0 to 150, only 430 compared to 582 at 150 to 250. And again, the numbers get smaller as you get up into the premium priced products. So that is closed sales by price here in Tippecanoe County. And then the last graph I want to look at is again related to that data. Pending sales by price. No surprise here. These bar graphs show exactly the same data that the last couple of bar graphs showed. The median is the purple ones are what we're looking at, the dark purple. Most homes that sold, 580 of them, $250,000 to $350,000 is that median price window. You can get some for $150,000 to $250,000. There's almost nothing at 0 to $150,000 in what is available. you don't want, unless you're a very much a handyman or you're a flipper. That's what these are. These are flipper specials down here. And by flipper specials, I mean like the ones that actually need work, not just the throw a coat of paint on and throw down some vinyl flooring and call it a day. Those are in this price range, believe it or not. Seriously, in the one that you're going to start at the 120s to 130s, bare minimum, to find something that's a lipstick on a pig. But it's going to be really, really hard to find, and there's 100 other experienced people that are going to jump on that before you're going to get on it. It's a really, really anemic market when it comes to that. Our market is here. That's where it is. So the local real estate market here in the Greater Lafayette area, in Tippecanoe County, Lafayette, West Lafayette, all of the surrounding counties, is really, really strong. And our market update from June of 2025 shows it. So if you're interested in home here in the Greater Lafayette area, go to the LafayetteReal.com/YouTube and fill out the form, and let's chat about how we can help you with your home journey here in the Greater Lafayette area. Whether you're looking to buy or sell, upsize, downsize, first-time home buyer, I'd love to talk to you. And if you enjoy watching our shows and videos, then that's a great way to support us as well. Okay, we're going to do just a few home tours here to wrap up, to wrap up our evening. Tonight we're going to tour 4 homes here in Lafayette. These are slightly more mainline homes, perhaps, to some extent. They are in Lafayette, not West Lafayette. My first one's not working. That's a bummer. That's okay. I have more bookmarked. Just get them up. You know, I'm not going to say that they're cheap. You know, we just wrapped up our real estate review here in the Greater Lafayette area from June of 2025. And, you know, when that median sales price is a little north of $300,000, there's really, is that cheap? I don't know. What do you call cheap? I don't think $300,000 is cheap by any means, but these are middle of the road houses here in the Greater Lafayette area, but they all have something interesting to recommend them, and I thought it would be a good way to wrap up the evening. First off, we're going to look at 413 Lingle Avenue in Lafayette, 47901. This is a 4-bedroom, 4-bath, 2,738 square feet. Let's put it on the map. If you know Lafayette at all, Lingle Avenue, I mean, that's kind of as old Lafayette as old Lafayette gets. I mean, I suppose there's some downtown is slightly older. Whew, it's hot here in the studio tonight. But let's look at it on the map. Let's just place it on the map. So here we go, Lingle Street, just a few blocks south of 26 of South Street in Columbia, coming here in the one-ways through downtown Lafayette. Here is Highland Park down here. So it's a beautiful, beautiful home. Let's take a look, go on a quick little tour together. Again, this is 413 Lingle Avenue in Lafayette. It's got the 47901 zip code. 4 bedrooms, 4 baths, 2,738 square feet. It is, I think, a beautiful home built in 1920, and it has been taken care of. I do rather like the color palette. I like bold color statements. I like lawns that aren't grass. I know that is not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm rather fond of it. So one of the reasons we're looking at this, and, you know, of course, you know, pictures sell. You know, picture is worth 1,000 words is true. And even as a realtor, as I go through and look at things, you know, pictures grab my eye. And what home are we going to talk about today? Well, we're going to talk about interesting looking ones. And this one looked interesting. It's got some purple, and it's got a lawn that isn't grass, and it's got those lovely shears out on the porch, and it's got the first story porch and the second story porch. Got some great outdoor living there, I think. You got the swing suspended from the rafters up above. You can close your shears there, you close your curtains, get a little bit of privacy. Move inside. Look at that beautiful wood floor. I don't know if it's original to the house. Let's see. Does it say? I Can't remember if this one is original or not. Checking my notes. Hardwood floors, I don't know if they're original. I don't have a note on that. May or may not be. But regardless, they're in generally good shape for hardwood floors in this type of home. Nice modern aesthetic. It's light and airy. There was probably a wall or at least a half wall taken out here. If you check this out, you'll see this beam running here, which indicates to me that a wall was taken out at one point, making the room feel nice and spacey. Got the tile in the kitchen. Kitchen is big without being so stupid big that it's unusable. You could definitely fit an island in there if you wanted to. Yeah, I think there might have been a wall taken out right here on this load-bearing. I think this might be a load-bearing beam that was put in to carry the load from a wall that was removed. I could be wrong on that, but that's my instinct. Moving around into the living room. I appreciate that the TV is not, front and center in the room. You can, of course, set it up however you want. Got a little bit of an office nook here. Again, with 4 bedrooms and 4 full baths. Not half baths, full baths. We move on to the updated bathroom and one of the bedrooms. Zipping on through here, we're looking at the more unique architecture. Here we go. One of the full bathrooms. Not over the top, been updated, but it's still a bathroom, and I like that. I've been in homes where the bathroom is, like, no joke, half the size of the house, and I like a house where the bathroom is right sized to the house. Here's the primary. You can see the ensuite with the dual basin sinks, the modern LED lighting, the double width mirror, the large shower inside there. We head out back towards the garage. Nice patio, and this is one of the things that attracted. They've got this really set up for outdoor living very, very nicely here in the city. And in the garage, you've got the 2-car garage with plenty of room for a small workshop there, but as you saw, you've also got the stairs that go up to the loft up above, and that gives you a ton of storage space, or in the cooler months, a place you could actually work. You could finish that off. You can see they've actually got some drywall stored up here. My guess is that somebody was making a start at finishing that off, and you could turn that into an ADU, laws aside, and what the city might allow. You got the raised beds out here in the garden. I think this outside is very nicely done. Again, I like a little bit of pop of color. We move back inside to one of the secondary bedrooms. Look at this fire pit. You got the concrete fire pit in place as a feature of the backyard with the stone retaining wall. It's absolutely beautiful. Fits well into the neighborhood. It was built in 1920, so it is 105 years old, but does not look it. Been well taken care of, well updated. Lovely landscaping, and we can see here is the layout. We come in on the main floor. And have the living and dining room, the kitchen, and there's a bed and a bath downstairs, so you don't have to climb the stairs. Go down to the sub-basement, if you will, and there's a rec room and bath down there, and then the other bedrooms upstairs. So that is 413 Lingle Avenue here in Lafayette. It is in the 47901 zip code. 4 bedrooms, 4 baths, 2,738 square feet, currently listed for $400,000. And if you're here in the Greater Lafayette area or considering moving here and you'd like to purchase this house or any house here, go to thelafayettereal.com/YouTube and fill out the form. And let's go look at this house and see a really spectacular home here in the Greater Lafayette area together. We're going to move on to our next home tour this evening. Let me bring it up, get myself ready. Again, we're doing interesting homes here in Lafayette, and with the median sales price being just over $300,000 here in the Greater Lafayette area, in the Tippecanoe County area. I would not debate that $300,000 is affordable. $300,000 is merely the median price. So what I think of it as affordable or not doesn't really matter. It's the price that houses are going for. But we're going to talk about that's 60 Elder Court here in Lafayette. It is a 3-bedroom, 3-bath with 1,900 square feet. Let's take a look at it on the map this time. Place it in town if you're not familiar with where Elder Court is. It's just off of Sagamore and Greenbush. So here is Sagamore Parkway. Here is Greenbush. It is right off of Greenbush. So it is in an older section of town. And one of the reasons that I wanted to look at this home is that it is a just run-of-the-mill 1970s home. It was built in... I had this in front of me. I want to say it's 1971, but I might be telling you wrong. Let me find that. Year built. Sorry, I was wrong. 1977. It's built in 1977. I have an affinity for mid-70s homes. This is a bi-level. I like bi-levels. I think there's a lot to recommend them. They give you 2 living areas in a home that isn't a McMansion. 60 Elder Court, Lafayette, Indiana. This is just off of Greenbush and Sagamore. 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, 1,921 square feet. Again, it is a bi-level with the built-in garage. This one has the steps at the mid-level, as you can see. So you come in the front door and go up a half flight of steps. And when you go in the front door, you either go up or down. So there's the approach to the front door. This is up. This is the kitchen. And this has been lovingly updated. Doesn't look like it was from the 1970s at all, does it? You've got the white tile over here. You've got the double wide window. You've got actually a little bit of color that isn't just a gray in there. Modern appliances, well done in there, making it feel light and airy and modern in a 1970s era home. And then one of my favorite things about bi-levels, you can see over here, here's the stairs that come up. Here's the main door. So you come up these stairs and you come up and you've got this large built-in bar that they've put in here. They've opened up this space really brilliantly with the eat-in dining area and then the living area. And you can set this up as a living room. As a formal living room is more of a den. In this example, they've kind of got it set up as a den. There's a lot of people that set up the upstairs living area in a bi-level more as their formal living area. This one, I would say, it feels a little more den-like, the fact that there's a TV there. Not to say that you can't have 2 den-like areas. Of course you can. It's your house. You can do as you want. I think this is the primary suite. Actually, this might be... Yes, this is the primary. Took me a minute to remember there. With just a regular bathroom. One of the issues with buying an older home is, you know, if you're looking for a giant, expansive bathroom, then you're not going to find that in a 1970s home unless somebody has knocked down a wall and taken the space from somewhere else, like a secondary bedroom, like a baby's bedroom here, as they have this one set up. But if you're just looking for a regular old house with a regular old bathroom, then a 1970s home is a great way to go, and it's a great value for the money, especially with the amount of space that you get. And you can see the secondary bathroom, acknowledging the fact that there's going to be more than one person using it, is a little bit larger. They've updated the floor with some LVP flooring, it looks like, in here, but have not updated the cabinets. So the kitchen and living room were done nicely. This is a great shot. We looked at those outdoor concrete stairs coming up to the front door, and this is the landing that you come in on, and then you go either up or down. And this is down. And down, this is pretty typical. Downstairs, you have your den set up, as indeed they have that illustrated here. Half the room set up as a den. And in this case, this is the house that has the other half set up as a gym workout area. You can set up as however you want. Big movie theater, big den. You could set it up as an office. Bathroom downstairs, and then the yard is just a normal size yard downstairs. Again, built in 1977, bi-level. You get the 2 living spaces. In some of these homes, you get some of the bedrooms upstairs, some of the bedrooms downstairs. I believe all of the bedrooms on this one are downstairs. I'm sorry, upstairs rather. You got the beautiful deck out back for a little bit of outdoor living there. So this is 60 Elder Court here in Lafayette. It is 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, 1,921 square feet. currently listed at $319,000. And if you'd like to go see this home or any home here in the Greater Lafayette area, go to thelafayettereal.com/YouTube and fill out the form. Indeed, At Lafayette Live is brought to you every Monday to help bring you information about our community here in the Greater Lafayette area. And you can help support us by helping you through your home journey. So go fill out that form and let's talk about home here in the Greater Lafayette area. And we're going to finish up tonight with one more home tour. Let me get set up for the last one. While I'm getting set up, you all hit the like and subscribe button. Make sure you don't miss a minute of all the great content that we have here on the Lafayette Reel and every Monday on At Lafayette Live. Last up, we're going to talk about 536 South 27th Street. Doesn't get more Lafayette than the numbered streets, right? I mean, you know exactly where you're talking about. First Street is closest to the Wabash River, and it goes out into the 30s, heading east from there out towards the highway. So 536 South 27th Street is what we're looking at. Let's put it on the map, and we'll talk a little bit about it as we do. So here it is on the map. And again, if you're familiar at all with Lafayette, the numbered streets run north-south. And south is south of 26, and north is north of 26. Pretty easy numbering pattern. And you can see over here, here's this big open area, this lake. That's Columbian Park. It's about a 2-block walk over to Columbian Park. That's a great location. Columbian Park is a great urban park, if you can call Lafayette urban. It's not suburban. It's just not a big city either. In a lot of ways, Lafayette is a small city and a big town all at the same time. So this is 536 South 27th Street in Lafayette, 47904. It is 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2,258 square feet, and it was built in 1927. So it's 98 years old. But I don't think that you'll believe that. This is one of those touched up photos that everybody's doing now. Here's what it really looks like. And I think it still looks good. Again, I like pops of color. Yellow, I like. It's bright and it's airy. It's got the old porch that homes had. Original, look at all the original hardwood. The floors, the doors, the window panes. Everything is original wood in this house. The windows at some point may have been updated, but the paint, but the trim around, all original and in relatively good shape. And I think that we're going to see that kind of throughout the house, where the wood's been relatively well taken care of. You got the light, airy feeling living room and den area up front. Got a great wraparound couch in there. Of course, we're looking at the house, not the furniture, but it illustrates the size of the room really well. Got the attached dining room where you'll walk through the portal and then through that to the kitchen. So I think the house has pretty good flow there. A lot of people don't need a formal dining room anymore, but you could set this up in a lot of ways. A hobby room, a craft room, an office, however you wanted. The kitchen has been nicely updated, modern appliances. You know, it's got that modern color palette that either you love or hate. I kind of love to hate it, but you know, it doesn't feel, it does feel light and airy in this particular house. I've been in there and it does feel pretty nice. Continuing our tour on through, you got our little coffee station here at the end, looking out our back windows. Nicely updated shower. Nicely updated bathroom. Again, when you're buying an older house, you're not getting a master suite that takes up half the house. You're getting bedrooms and bathrooms, and hopefully they're nice. And indeed, look at this one. They have this one set up as a nursery, but you've got the original wood trim up here. It's just got the original hardwood floors and the oak doors, and it's just beautiful, just well done, well taken care of. It's old without feeling decrepit. You go up to the upstairs, and you can set this up as an office or a den. I think it's well done. Gives you lots of space. They have the upstairs bedroom set. That's pretty typical in this setup of a home. Gets you a giant closet that way, essentially, depending on how you divide the space up. Bathroom upstairs as well. Then we head down to the basement. if you've not seen this kind of basement before, you might look at this and go, oh, this is scary. This is a beautiful basement. It is a utility mechanical space, no doubt. Could you finish it? Yes. Do you want to finish it? Maybe. Some of these older basements, they're basements. I'm not saying this one does, but they can and do get wet. So, drywall and wet don't mix. We can see that they've got the nice spray coating on the cinder block down here. So that probably helps keep the moisture out. Could you put in, a ceiling and make it a little nicer in here? Could you put in some sort of an LVP floor or something in here? Yeah, you could turn this into a finished space. But if you're just looking for storage to put all your Christmas lights and, you pop down here to do your laundry, it's perfectly serviceable space. It is clean, airy, light for a basement. You can set up as indeed they have here, they've got a counter over here. You can set up your workbench. Then we head outside to the detached single car garage. Very, very typical for houses of this age and location. So if you're looking for an attached garage, don't look in Old Lafayette. So that is, and I'm going to cycle to the real picture. 536 South 27th Street here in Lafayette, 47904. It is 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2,258 square feet, currently listed for $280,000. And if this home catches your eye, if you'd like to go look at it or look at any other home here in the Greater Lafayette area, go to the LafayetteReal.com/YouTube, fill out the form, and let's go look at this house. Let's talk about your housing needs. Do you need to buy? Do you need to sell? Are you interested in knowing what your home is currently worth? But I'd love to work with you, love to talk to you about home here in the Greater Lafayette area. And with that, we're going to wrap up this week. Thank you so much for joining us this week and every week here on At Lafayette Live. If you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button right now. Don't miss a minute of content and videos that we put out here on the Lafayette Reel. We put out content so often about so many things, cool things to do, fun things, places to go, things to do, real estate market updates, housing tours, all sorts of things here on the Lafayette Reel. But with that, thank you guys so much for joining us. We will see you again next Monday here on At Lafayette Live. Have a great week.